Hello everybody and welcome back to a football podcast that precedes unfortunate events. I'm Callum, joined here by...
Lewis, I'm back. Hello, sexy people.
And...
Toby, hello.
We're back 2 weeks in a row. Consistency is king, boys. We're back once again. And we're going to get straight into it. And we're going to start with Brighton versus Chelsea, because I believe Toby has got a lot to say about this game.
What a shower of shite that was. Did you boys watch it?
Dreadful, mate.
I did not.
Yeah, we were just all over the place, weren't we? Very sloppy. I think it all just started, didn't it, with them clearances that Silva made in the first half. Obviously, the first one was his mistake. But, yeah, we just didn't... After the own goal, the Loftus-Cheek own goal, we just didn't switch on. And the defending for the first one, for that Trossard one, was disgraceful. Yeah, I think in the first half, when we were 2-0 down, we just rolled over and accepted defeat, really. Just really poor. I don't know what your boys' thoughts are on the reception that Graham Potter got. Do you think that was deserved, or...?
I can see both sides of it in my view, because obviously he left Brighton sort of spur of the moment. It was very random. So I can kind of get that. He's ditched them mid-season. But then I can also see why people would be like, oh, you can't give him stick because he's done a really good job there. So I'm one of them. I can see both sides of it. I understand why some would give him a bit of a frosty reception, but I can understand why they wouldn't.
Yeah, you can't turn that offer down, can you? Going from Brighton to Chelsea, he didn't have a choice, did he?
No.
And also he took all his backroom staff with him as well. I think that's why most Brighton fans were a bit more annoyed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because, you know, obviously you're going to take the job in his position, because when 14 years ago, what was he, assistant manager of Leeds Beckett University, to then go, oh, here you go, you can manage a team that won the Champions League in the last 3 years. You're going to go, well, yeah, obviously. So, but the thing is, with the Brighton fans, is the reaction is understandable, because I think Brighton, under him, would have been on track for a probable push into the Conference League. They really could have pushed one of those top six sides or Newcastle into it, because they've been getting these consistent results. And you look at the team, you know, obviously De Zerbi's just come in, but it's not even that different to what would be lined up under Potter. It may be a three at the back instead, but it's Potter's line-up. I think the only weird part was, obviously, I think Gross ended up playing right back or something like that.
It's all a bit over the place, though, isn't it, with them formations?
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of teams actually have formations anymore.
Who was it that came out and said it? Yeah, somebody literally said that quote. Who was it?
I don't know.
I can't
it's
remember.
on Sky Sports, I think.
Yeah.
Someone.
Well, it's not even like Everton. Like, in attack, we'll play like a 3-2-5 and then drop into something. We play about 8 different formations in the game.
Yeah,
it's phases of playing it. Like, players are told to be in this position for this phase of play.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a formation anymore, is it?
It's evolving. The footballing world is evolving.
Yeah. But just on Graham Potter again, I think if you saw his post-match interview, he did look like he was going to cry. Or he did look really hurt about it, which was fair enough.
You would be though, wouldn't you? It shows he cares at the end of the day.
I think he just lined out the wrong squad as well. Pulisic is a terrible footballer. Like I said, you know, I'd probably take him out.
Tear us apart in the World Cup, though. Now you've said that.
Yeah, he probably will. And then obviously Kovacic and Chalobah. To be fair, 2 good players. So I'm not going to dog on them. Chalobah's performance was dreadful, to be fair, but they're both
been good.
He's been good ever since Potter came in.
We've been unbeaten. And to be honest with you, I felt the loss coming. Like, it was all building up for a defeat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, Potter returning, you know, doing well in the Champions League, a draw against Man United last weekend, which was, painful to take, wasn't it? The manner that we drew that game. But yeah, it was all built up for a defeat, and to lose 4-1 was not nice.
The thing is, it just felt like Potter felt for the same trap that got Tuchel sacked as well in not playing a striker. You've got 2, you know, strikers on the complete tail. One on the tail and one at the start of a promising career, but you know, you think someone like Amanda Broya or Aubameyang going to play up front, so then players like, because I understand he wants to play Havertz, Mount, Gallagher, Loftus-Cheek, you know, all these players at the same time, but unfortunately for a team in your position where you're going to be playing as much football as you are, I think he's just got to accept it, and someone's got to get dropped. And personally right now, it's a weird one. It's more and more looking like it might be Mount, the player we might need to start making way.
But it's one of them. It's very early into his tenure. It'll take time to know his best team.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's been. Has he chopped and changed a lot? Or?
Yeah, he has. I think before the game, like you just said, he's trying to rest players when he can.
Yeah. So especially when you've not had a pre-season, he's going to want to try these players out.
He's learning on the job, and he's learning in the role.
And with the amount of football you play as well, you're never going to get all those 11 players fit.
And and to be fair, he's going to have a lot of his players will be going to the World Cup, but you know, players like Gallagher probably won't go. I can't see Loftus-Cheek going. Aubameyang's obviously not going to be going. I think Ziyech is going now because I think he's packing the Morocco squad now.
He fell out,
Yeah.
didn't he? He had a big fallout.
They're going to get dumped in the group stage, though.
Yeah.
Aren't
Broya's going to be there. It's weird we saw as well. I think we saw Amari Hutchinson on the bench.
Yeah.
And I've seen stuff that Potter has really high hopes for him.
Yeah.
So then, again, though, that's where the situation becomes even weirder. And that's now another attacking midfielder in the fold to the point where does this mean maybe someone goes in January?
I can see Ziyech leaving just on him as well. I think his time's up. He hasn't had a great time at Chelsea.
Pulisic.
Yeah.
I could see them going. But then even, you've still got a really strong squad. And, I think January's going to be a really interesting time I'd say for two of the clubs here. I don't exactly know how Stoke are going to go in January, but
I think we are being lined up with Trossard. Obviously being reunited, and he's been unreal this
easy
season.
link, isn't it?
I think the only problem, though, is that's costing you lot 50, 60. Like, for example, if Everton went in for him, we'd probably get him for 40. But because it's you lot now, it's going to be, it's that Champions League tax. We know these idiots will pay loads of money. We're saying that's what
the Graham Potter premium.
That's exactly what we used to be. We used to be those idiots that'll pay a lot of money, to be fair. So
I think under De Zerbi, it's only been own goals and Trossard scoring before the weekend.
Yeah.
So
Trossard's fantastic.
yeah, he's been unreal.
That's all you need, though. Guess results.
So we're moving to the next game. Fulham 0, Everton 0. A game that the scoreline probably doesn't do it justice. There definitely should have been more than 0 goals in the game. There should have been at least one red card on the Fulham side, and that's not an excuse to say we deserved to win, because in the end Pickford saved us countless times in that game. It probably should have been a draw, but not a 0-0. Calvert-Lewin, probably should have buried the chances he had. We had a good case for a penalty. The red card on Mitrovic, which I think would have completely changed the game and possibly could have got us the win. But I think a lot of players still impressed. Pickford, obviously, arguably one of his better performances of the season. Tarkowski was good again. Mikolenko had one of his better games of the season. I think Idrissa Gueye finally had his first game where he really stands out. But then, a lot of it was just average as well. I'd say that was... it's hard. It's one of those where you'll just look at it and go, it's decent. A point at Fulham. Not many teams. A lot of teams struggle. Even Arsenal, top of the league, really struggle against Fulham. So I think it's one of those where we just move on from the game. I think it's Bournemouth next, or it's another team. No, it's Leicester next. Leicester at Goodison Park next. They're picking up form too. But I think that's a game we can win. So, and there's not much to talk about really. So let's move straight on to what happened to the Stoke game.
Oh well, it was a familiar story for the boys in red and white. It was a 3-1 defeat away at Norwich, who prior to that game had been winless in 5. So we know what happens when we play a team that's not won in a while. They turn us over, and that was the case on Saturday. We lost 3-1, and it was 3-0 game. We didn't deserve to score. We had a really good chance at 2-0, but Powell headed over the bar. But it's just the same. It's the same every week. We had 18 shots, an incredible amount of shots once again, which has been a theme over the last week, but we just can't convert. We brought all these strikers in the summer, and we just cannot score goals for love nor money.
What changes have you seen under Alex Neil? Has there been much difference between start of the season?
Yeah, as much as I moan about results, it seems very doom and gloom, but the football is better. We're creating more chances, and we're losing games, so we're getting the same results as we did under O'Neill, but the performances seem a lot better. You get what I mean? We're having a bit more of the ball. We're getting the ball in the box a bit more. We just can't finish. Whereas with O'Neill, we'd just give the ball away. And honestly, I can't tell you anything we'd do under O'Neill. Like the Rotherham game a couple of weeks ago, for example, we would not. They scored early on, but we peppered them with chances. With O'Neill, we'd have sat back and we'd have just not done anything with it. So the results will come. I'm confident the results will come. I think he just needs time. And I think, to be fair, the Stoke fan base know that. Which is very strange. Normally, if you lose a few games, they're on the manager. They're like, "Oh, he's shite. He's got to go." But no, I think we actually back him and give him a transfer window. Give him a pre-season if we're going that far. We'll be fine. We'll be up there.
Well, goals will come.
We'll be competing
if you're getting the chances, then
exactly.
Finishing them off, it'll come.
Do you think it's a thing where you might need to bring in another striker in January if these players aren't finishing the chances?
This is what Alex Neil has come out and said. He says he wants a striker. He wants, did he say a centre half? And he wants a goalkeeper.
You probably need a centre half.
I think it was a striker, a centre half, and a goalkeeper, because Joe Bursick, everybody. He's this young talent, but he's just not progressed.
Probably
at
needs
all.
he probably needs that full loan move that he never got.
Yeah, well, he went to Peterborough for a
Yeah.
bit, but that was
On
only
railway.
Emergency loan,
emergency
wasn't it?
loan. I think he was at Northampton as well.
He went
somewhere like
Lincoln.
that?
I think
Yeah.
he was at Posh, one promotion with Posh. Then he went to Lincoln as
Oh, he was at
emergency loan.
Accrington the season before, but I agree. I think he does need a League One
Maybe-
loan move just to boost his
Maybe
confidence.
even a low championship to a team that I don't know who's looking.
Well,
I think Plymouth are top, but Plymouth have got Cooper, who I think is quite a good goalkeeper. I think Ipswich are looking quite good this season. Ipswich are looking like they might finally get promotion
would he get
again.
an aside though? I don't think he.
I don't know who Ipswich have up front in goal, to be honest with you. I know they not have Derby's current goalkeeper. No, that's Chef Wednesday. So yeah, you don't know, but it's one of those where maybe you can get him into a low.
I think I'd just cash in. He's young.
Doesn't
He's
Birmingham-
young and English.
Doesn't John Ruddy still play for Birmingham in goal?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
There you go. A team like Birmingham who.
But then
They're doing quite well,
you know
aren't
for a
they?
fact we'd go to Birmingham and he'd save every shot we have.
Well, no, because he wouldn't be able to play against you, would he? If you put the clauses
Of
in that was
course,
low.
yeah, but we never do that. We always put shit clauses into loan deals. Like they can play against us, they can batter, anything.
But yeah, I think it's a weird one going into January, and I think it's something we'll touch on more when we get closer to then. But
Yeah.
I think
I know for certain we're after Daniel Iverson from Leicester, who's been at Preston.
The thing is, I don't know about him because I could see him. Danny Ward's terrible. Danny Ward is.
Yeah,
or-
well, this is a thing.
Don't get me
isn't
wrong.
it?
Danny Ward's a good championship goalkeeper.
Well, he's done
But-
quite well in the last. Was it 5? Didn't he keep 4 clean sheets in a row? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but Leicester. I
City.
don't think Leicester really played anyone good.
No.
They played a Leeds side that just couldn't anything.
Palace.
You know.
0-0 with Palace, wasn't it? As well.
Yeah, and they were terrible. So I think it's
But he weren't saving that De Bruyne free kick, was he? That was
that's
perfect, wasn't it?
right off the bar. Dink bounces up. Oh, it was perfect. It's one of those as well where as soon as he hit it, you just knew. You're like, yep, that's in. One of those where as soon as it left his foot, and I think once again though it gets talking about something we probably again will talk about in the future. I think that De Bruyne is in that class now, the top class of greatest midfielders to ever play in this league, and I think now it's at a point where, do you know what? To be honest with you, I think he's guaranteed to retire the best unless he's like I said, unless his career spirals. I think he's going to retire the best midfielder to ever play in this league.
Does this bring us on nicely to our mid-season predictions?
It does
Great
bring us
segue.
on
Oh, fantastic,
very,
Callum.
very nicely
Very sexy
to our
segue.
mid-season predictions.
So
So,
segues go. That's a 10 out of 10.
so what we are going to do is simple. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do right now. This is the Premier League. We might give you playoffs and thingy of the Championship. We'll do that too. Yeah, we'll do playoffs and thingy because we're actually running good on time for once. We'll give you the playoffs and the champions of the Championship too, but that'll come after the Premier League. We'll do top scorer too. We'll do top scorer too. I'm not doing top assister though. No. Right. So what we're going to do is with the Premier League, we're going to be giving you our predicted champion, the top 4, Europa League places, Conference League place, FA and League Cup top scorer, assister, player of the year and young player of the year, and then Championship champion or promotion, playoffs and top scorer. And then hopefully that should put us on good time to make it for not almost 2 hours this time. So if we get straight into it, the champions is, it's Man City. Like I said, I think Arsenal are going to give them a fight, and I do think this Arsenal side is good enough to compete for that title if they can keep this form up. Maybe a few additions in January, maybe. I'd probably say another central midfielder in January just so they're not relying too much on Thomas Partey and Granit Xhaka, even though they have been fantastic. Sambi Lokonga, terrible footballer. I'm not going to lie. Not the amount of Arsenal I've had to watch due to girlfriend, people who live in my house, all Arsenal fans. He's terrible. I know he's young and I know he's developing, but at the same time, and I hate to bring him up, Onana's like 2 years younger than him, and he's already miles ahead of him in progression. And it's not like 2 years ago anyone had been saying, "Oh, Amadou Onana's at the same level of Sambi Lokonga." Everyone thought Lokonga was what he is now. So in the end, I think it's time for Arsenal to either loan him out or admit their mistake, sack him off, send him to Burnley or something. No, I mean,
Company really
yeah.
liked him, didn't he?
Company
saying
got the
he was-
best out of him.
Yeah, he said he was like Yaya Toure, didn't he?
Yeah, so go play like Yaya Toure, aka go get benched for Josh Brownhill, who is a very good player in the Championship.
Yeah, he's good.
So yeah, I don't know what you think, but I think this is Man City's. I think eventually Arsenal are going to slip, and Man City are just going to capitalise on it.
See, I've just been thinking as you were talking. I'd love to be rogue and say Arsenal are going to win the league. They're going to they've been consistent. They're going to carry on their form. But you think of that Man City side. Who are they going to lose to?
It's
Have they lost a game this season, or are they
Yeah,
still?
yeah,
Liverpool.
Liverpool
Of course,
and
yeah.
They drew to Aston Villa.
They drew a few. They had a few stinkers and drew a few times. But
No, I can't see past City. I don't think anyone can.
I
see
think
past
it's that
City.
as well, and I think Arsenal have shown the cracks. You look at against PSV, even when they brought on everyone, PSV ripped them apart.
Yeah, but that
you
was
know,
very much a makeshift team, wasn't it?
Not really. You know, it was the second team, but in the end, when it got towards that second half, they started bringing on all these, Gabby Jesus and stuff like that, who couldn't get a foot in the game. You know, they started to turn it over a bit, but they couldn't score.
Yeah, but if it's players that haven't played together as a unit a lot, then it's not.
I
gonna
think
be
that
great.
squad depth's going to impact them though, because what happens when there's injuries, and then for
Yeah,
example,
true.
you look at those players who are getting, you look at Rob Holding, who, don't get me wrong, Xavi Simons looks like he's going to be a really good player, but how many players does he do before that offside goal?
Yeah, that was
5
unreal,
of them.
wasn't it?
And don't get me wrong, I think he's a good player, but an 18-year-old who's barely been playing first team football until this season should not be dribbling through what's meant to be the best team in England currently. So I think
they'll slip up, like you say, but I think it'll be a longer fight than people.
Yeah, completely
think.
agree. They won't be out of it by Christmas like everybody's predicting.
Oh no, well they're not. It's we're basically at the Christmas point of the season now, and they're still top. They've been top.
Yeah, but you know what the football community's like. As soon as they lose,
I think it'll go to about
March.
March, April. Like I said, City will actually get maybe put to the wire for once by another
I must
team.
admit, I really hope we get a decent title race because
Hopefully some other teams can get into it. Like hopefully Chelsea can pick up some form, and then they can start rocketing up. Man United are looking really good under Ten Hag.
yeah, I must admit they're a rogue shout, but I hope Liverpool stay down where they are.
I think they're done. I don't think there's any way. The only way they get a title race now is if every other team above them balls it.
It's
They're
such
14,
a toxic fan base.
14
as soon as
points.
They, lose a game,
They might even. I think they're 17 points possibly now after the loss to Leeds. I don't know because I think they had a game in hand. But yeah, losing to Leeds at the so-called best atmosphere in England, it's not. But it's proof that I think it's time for Liverpool. To be honest, I'm not saying Klopp should go, but I think it's. I don't want to blame Klopp because I think he's a knob, right? And I do not like the man. But he's a fantastic manager. He's one of the best in the world. You look at what he was getting out of the crap he had in 2015, and I think he got them to a Europa League final first or second season. Or when he came in, got them to that Europa League final. Obviously, they got pumped by Sevilla, ironically, under Unai Emery, I think, in the final. But then, it happens. Stuff like that happens, and I don't think... I mean, Klopp could leave at the end of the year. It's the 7 seasons thing. He never stays for longer than 7 seasons. He's always usually sacked. But it's a consistent thing, and I think Liverpool are in a position now where, to be honest, I don't think I'm going to put them in my top 4.
Anyway, Toby, who are you tipping for your title?
Yeah, it's got to be City, innit? No question. I don't know if you saw today, Fabrizio Romano said about Koulibaly saying that Chelsea are aiming to win the league this season. They're aiming for the title.
You know what though? Fair play to him for if they've got that. If you've got that head space and you know that,
and it's what you want your players to be coming out and saying, isn't it? It's the right mentality.
Yeah, because in the end, how many points are you behind? You're 10 behind Arsenal. 10 points is not impossible. It's not impossible to make up. You beat them, drops to 7. Obviously, if City win, I think it's about 8 points. You'll be behind them. We've seen.
Yeah, I can't see it this season, obviously.
We've seen much more improbable odds happen before. With teams that are coming out of nowhere to win the league. You look at the year. I think it might be 9-10 where Arsenal looked locked in to win it. Ended up finishing 3rd behind. I think it was the Ancelotti year.
Yeah, it was.
Ancelotti's Chelsea and United, I think. But yeah, if we go into our top 4, so we'll obviously the rest of the 3. I'll give mine. I think I'm going to go for Arsenal, Chelsea, and Manchester United. Conte's Tottenham dropping too many games. They can win these games, but I think Chelsea are finding that form. I think Man United look like they finally found it on some of the best form of the league. Haven't lost in the past 5. I think if I'm right, it's 3 wins, 2 draws. And I am really tempted to put Newcastle in because I think Newcastle are going to spend another 150 in January. They're going to look at the chance they're in now and go, right. Which my only thing is, I think they're going to do that, and it's not going to backfire because they're still going to get, well, you'll find out, where they're still going to get in a position where they have really succeeded and done well, but it's going to be one of those where maybe if we kept the squad and added more depth options, they could have done better. But yeah, I think the rest of the top 4 in order, it's going to be Arsenal 2nd, Manchester United 3rd, Chelsea 4th.
See, I agree on 2 and 3, but I would put Newcastle 4th.
You think?
You've mentioned their January transfer window there, and I completely agree with you. I think it would be completely wrong if they just go and spunk a load of money on a load of different players. We all know my views on when Forest did that. But yeah, I think they need to carry. I think their transfer strategy so far has been incredible.
I don't think it'll be a load of different players. I think
they
I'm talking
need
like
one or
150.
two.
I'm talking like 150 mil on 3 players. I'm talking huge, like a left back. They're desperate for a left back.
This is how they should do it though, because it would be so easy for them to get excited, see all this money they've got, and go and splash a load of money in January. But they need to just sign 1 or 2 players, and they'll be sorted.
Because if I think Newcastle play like a very consistent formation. Like if I get it up here. And if I get it up, it might take me scroll down. I think Newcastle have been playing this 4-3-3 for a while. You know, Sean Longstaff's getting consistent minutes. You know, they need. They've got Gimenez. They've got who else? Joe Linton. They need that. They need that third man in midfield. Usually, and I think they probably need. I don't know what's going on with St. Maximin. I think he's still injured.
I think he's back now, isn't he?
But it
He's
really
He's on the bench the other day, I think.
yeah, but it really wouldn't surprise me if maybe
Almiron. How good has Almiron been as well?
Almiron.
Yeah, he's been a different player.
Almiron, we might get onto later.
I think their attack is fine. I think they need a defensive midfielder. And a left back.
I think
Leave it at that for January.
yeah, I think maybe another top quality centre back. Similar
I disagree. Shaw and Botman have been good.
Yeah, but Shaw's 30, 31. I think this might be a thing where you can spend 50 million on a centre back, and because they're in a position like Man City now, slowly nurture him in. So when next season, to the point where he comes in every now and again.
I think if they get the left back, they're fine.
But I think if you want to push that top 4, I think they need central midfielder, left back, centre back, and because you've got to think now, they're gonna do it because how many players are gonna look at Newcastle and go, big fan base, loads of money, I'm gonna get paid, and it looks like I might get European football. How many heads is that going to turn at a club like Leicester, for example?
I must admit, Newcastle's a very attractive proposition.
Like in the end,
especially the culture they
if
have.
I'm Newcastle, I'm going and spending 65 and trying to get James Maddison. I'm going all out on the James Maddison.
If Leicester are still in a bad position,
I don't think it matters.
That'd be a great. Well, yeah, and it doesn't really matter, no. But especially if they're in a bad position, I think they'll.
I think
that will make Maddison more inclined to come.
That'd be a great.
When stop Newcastle poaching.
He'll look so good in a Newcastle shirt as well.
Oh.
Such a good fit.
Yeah, it's and this is. It feels like Newcastle are. It feels like they're going to break the mold. It feels like they're going to break the big 6. But
of course.
We've said this about teams in the past that they've had this and they've never. Even we spent. We were supposed to do it when we started spending loads of money. We never did it. I think Newcastle's transfer business is so much better than ours. Don't get me wrong. I think it's fantastic compared to ours. I think they've done much better work compared to us in that field. So, don't get me wrong. I feel like these are the most likely to do it. If anyone's going to do it, I think, it's going to be them because everything seems set in stone. The business, the strategy, the personnel. I don't think Eddie Howe's the man to win them what they will win.
Wow.
But, no, but I think Eddie Howe's I'm trying to think of examples. Man City when they won the league.
I think Eddie Howe's class. You've seen what the players have to say.
Didn't
Trippier put something on Twitter about him the other day?
But Manuel Pellegrini was a really good manager, but he wasn't the manager to get Man City to the point they wanted. It was Guardiola.
It's very different.
I don't think it is.
There's a lot of differences between Pellegrini and Eddie Howe.
No, at that time Pellegrini was probably come on, mate. Back then Pellegrini was a better manager than Eddie Howe.
I think Eddie Howe's ceiling is so much higher than what Pellegrini's was.
Is it?
Yeah.
At that point in his career.
I think he's such a good tactician. I think he is,
but I don't think.
Support Eddie
Howe.
He went away, didn't he? Obviously,
what's Eddie Howe's ceiling then?
I don't know. It's hard for a manager though.
A multiple-time Premier League champion. Is that Eddie Howe's ceiling?
You don't know.
Because in the end, Manuel Pellegrini is a Premier League champion. So his ceiling is a Premier League champion.
But they're not going to be around forever, are they?
No.
There's going to be new people that come in and fill those gaps, and I think Eddie Howe will be one of them.
Don't get me wrong, I don't think he's a bad manager. Not being able to win the Premier League doesn't make you a bad manager, considering every other manager in the league besides Pep and Klopp can't do it right now. So, I think there's that top echelon of managers. There always has been. You look at the 2000s, you had your Ancelottis, your Alex Fergusons, your Mourinhos, those top of the top, and then you had a few on the level underneath. It doesn't mean they can't do it. It doesn't mean it's impossible for Newcastle, but I don't see Eddie Howe as the one who'll lift the Premier League for Newcastle, because I do think they'll win it eventually. I think, they're in a situation now where they've got so much potential and so many players, but in the end it's a head drop thing, isn't it? Are they going to do what Chelsea used to do when they've had a bit of success and, that's it. We've not got the results we wanted now. Head down. Because you look at all the things Mourinho did for them. And then, I know Mourinho's not... Eddie Howe's a likeable guy. And the fact that he's an Everton fan kind of makes me root for him a little more. It's nice to see. But, is it a thing where some of these Newcastle players like Gimenez are going to get a bit too big-headed because they're stars and they're at the top of the league, and then they're going to go... Someone's going to become available and go... Because honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if someone like Jurgen Klopp went to Newcastle.
Jesus. Toby, weigh in. Do you think Newcastle will get in top 4? Or?
I think they'll just fall out. I think they'll be 5th. I think obviously my top 4 would be City, Arsenal, United. I don't know. It's United and Chelsea. They're so similar at the moment. I think like the way they're.
I don't have enough faith in Tottenham, to be honest with you.
No, Tottenham.
And I don't have faith in Chelsea or United. So
unless Tottenham.
Well, saying that, then that opens it up for Newcastle.
If Tottenham spend big again in January and get some more improvements in, like an actual left wing back, like no offense to Ryan Sessegnon, he's a good player.
I like Sessegnon.
And Perisic is good when he comes in, but I think they need one of those top of the top left wing backs. If they want to be at this level, they need the best.
I'd focus on the right side before the left side.
Who plays right wing back?
Emerson Royale.
Wait, what?
And Doherty, yeah.
And
did they not sign anyone?
No.
Oh no, they didn't. Never mind. Yeah, right back. never mind. Right
I was going
back.
to say they got depth in left back. That's not the issue at the moment.
Just going back to Newcastle as well. I think it's weird with them. They're either going to finish 6th or 3rd. Like they could be anywhere in that gap.
I agree.
They're just
Well, they could drop even lower if they go on a shit vein of football,
yeah,
couldn't they? Think of this time 12 months ago. They were rock bottom, weren't they?
Yeah, it was about this time when the new owners got announced and stuff. Wasn't it? All set up.
Yeah, I think it is a situation where, to be honest with you, it's a we'll see, and I don't know whether to go full in on the Newcastle hype because I think
I'm on the freight train already, mate.
Because I can agree with it, but this kind of like transitions onto Europa League. I think Liverpool are one of the teams. I think they'll have enough to get it, and I think Tottenham will squeeze results as well. And like I said, honestly, between 4th, 5th, 6th and 7, I can see it being 3 points between all 4 teams. Something like that. I think this is the hardest top. But obviously top and second is quite easy to predict, I think. Because Arsenal and City just look a level above everyone else. Probably besides Newcastle, to be honest. But I think 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, you can put them in any order and it's understandable right now, to be honest.
100%.
So who have you two got in the Europa League then?
I need to think. Toby, go before me.
Well, sticking with my prediction before, I think Newcastle are gonna get Europe no matter what, aren't they? It just depends what competition. So I'd probably say Newcastle 5th. Then it's between Spurs and Liverpool. I don't know. I can see Liverpool then maybe after the World Cup they could go on a strong run of form, get some wins. Núñez, obviously, when he continues to bang, he's gonna be good.
It looks like he's finally found his feet in the league now.
Yeah. So I'd probably say Newcastle, Liverpool, then Spurs.
Is it 3 teams Europa League or 2 and 1 conference?
Well, yeah.
Unless Spurs, for example, like win the FA Cup and then, which they won't because it's Spurs.
I think Spurs will be bottom of that, and I wouldn't be
agree.
surprised if Conte's not there by the end of the season.
No, and I don't think it's Conte's fault, but I think Conte's the same type of manager as Mourinho, isn't he? He's had the comparisons his entire career, He's a very similar type of manager to Mourinho to the point where if the Spurs players won't listen to Mourinho and won't train for Mourinho, not going to do the same for Conte. Or they did at first, just like they did for Mourinho. They looked for a period like they might win the league under Mourinho when they battered United at Old Trafford, when they were beat City. I think they beat City at their ground too. So, I think they came from behind to win as well. So, it's one of those where we don't really know yet, but it just looks like these Spurs players ain't got the mentality for it,
Yeah, I completely agree.
I know it's quite ironic coming from an Everton fan, but, the players, they ain't got the fight for it. And, to be honest, it's why I think it is why Man City didn't sign Kane. Does he have the fight to win titles?
I think Kane does. I think the Tottenham squad overall don't, but I don't think you can disrespect Kane like that.
I don't know, though. Cause
Kane wanted it, though, didn't he? He wanted to go.
Yeah, he did. And to be fair, I think Man United's perfect for him under Ten Hag. I think if Man United can get Harry Kane at the end of this season, they are instantly propelled into title contenders then. Because Casemiro's been exactly what Man United fans expect since coming in. You know,
How old is he though? Is he that much of a long-term option?
30,
then?
31, but he's one of those players
Yeah,
where
true.
he's so
he
much.
could go for.
Yeah.
He's so much based
Yeah,
on
fair.
technical ability and intelligence.
Yeah,
He would drop
pace
into
isn't
midfield, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He'd do
of
what
course he
Rooney did. He was,
you know, exactly. So Kane will probably play. Kane is. I thought you were talking about Casemiro. Sorry, Kane's 29, I believe. Casemiro's 32, 33, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kane's about 29, so like you said, Harry Kane's probably still got 4 or 5 good years of banging goals in him. And if he's being fed chances by players like Anthony, who already looks like one of the best wingers in the league,
He's
you know,
been
and he's
brilliant.
only going to get better.
But they don't like him because he does a little spin.
I don't get
What
it.
are your
I liked
thoughts
it.
on that?
I liked it. The thing is, I've said it before the other week. I like the Richarlison thing. I've always loved Richarlison so I can't then turn on. Don't get me wrong. I don't like it when they're just doing it for the sake of it. But in the end, he did the spin, and at least I think he knows what he's doing. But at least he does the spin to then transition it into something. He's
Yeah,
not just sat
it
there doing
confused the
keepy uppies for
defenders.
no reason.
And it wasn't like he was doing it every 5 minutes either.
He does it once
As
again.
a Stoke fan, back in the day, I was used to seeing Charlie Adam punt one from the halfway line every 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So one little spin, just to try and create a chance. I don't get
He
why
does it
everybody's
once again.
ridiculing him for it.
He does it once a game, and it gets a good reaction from the fans at the ground.
I think it got more outrage because he misplaced a pass as well.
Yeah,
That
but
really-
it's one of them. If he makes that pass,
Got
it's
a
the
bit-
best
yeah,
thing
unreal.
since sliced bread.
Got a bit dizzy as he did it, and just out of nowhere. But yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? Where I think, like you said, I think Conference League's locked up for either Spurs or Newcastle. To be honest, I'm gonna give it to Newcastle, but it also then wouldn't surprise me if Newcastle go on to like win the FA Cup and get Europa League like that. You know, it wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we'll go straight into the FA and League Cup. I think FA Cup's difficult. This is my controversial statement. I don't think it's going to be any of the big six.
Really?
The stereotypical big six. So I think it's going to be could be Newcastle, Brighton. I think it's going to be a team like that this year because the big six I think are going to be so focused on the league this year because of how tight it's going to be, and I don't think it'll be Newcastle because of that either. Don't worry, I'm not predicting Everton, by the way. That they're going to be so focused on it that we're going to get a surprise again this year. I think the FA Cup has looked a lot more open this year, and part of me wants to say Aston Villa.
I was just about to say that under.
Part of me
Emery
really
as well.
wants
Wow.
because of they have got arguably one of the best knockout stage cup managers in the world.
True.
4 Europa Leagues. He's won 2 French Cups. He knows what he's doing.
Is this FA Cup or League Cup?
I'm gonna say. Do you know what? It doesn't sound as bad, but I'm gonna say Aston Villa for the League
Are
Cup.
they still in the League Cup?
I don't think the big six are gonna win either.
Let's have a look. Has it started for the Premier League?
No, it
teams?
starts next week.
Of course it does. Yeah, it does. They play
It's
Man
the
United.
last fixture we'll play. They've got Man United.
Yeah.
Never. No, because he won't be gaffer. No, he will be because he's took over the job now.
Yeah, you
No,
take a training session
I'm
to
not
do
going to
that.
give it to him then. I don't want to look at everyone's EFL Cup games. And do you know what? Everton are going to win the League Cup.
FA Cup. Quick, who's your prediction?
FA Cup, Newcastle.
Okay, I'm being very boring with mine. I think Arsenal will win the League Cup and Manchester City will win the FA
To
Cup.
be fair, they don't win the FA Cup much, so
I think City will win the treble this
How-
year.
do you think?
Yeah.
What, as in Champions League included? Or we talking-
Champions League, FA Cup, Premier League.
Do you think? No, I think they're going to focus too much on the Champions League. They're going to play a weekend side in the FA Cup against, I'm going to say
Maybe.
Everton, for example.
Yeah, maybe.
Because we play them every year in the FA Cup. And we're going to beat them 2-1, squeaky bum time, mate. Because
I just think their depth is unreal.
it is, but I've noticed that second unit really struggles sometimes. You know, you look at Riyad Mahrez, that fella, I don't know what's happened to him. Honestly, I think he's the only player in the world that is a guaranteed miss from a penalty.
I think he's really good as a player. I think
He
he's
is, but I think
unreal.
he needs a move. I think he, don't get me wrong, ironically, I'd like to see him somewhere like back at Leicester. Newcastle, I think, is another good shout for someone like Mahrez.
I think he'd go Arsenal or something like that.
I don't think he would. Arsenal look set on this young players project now. I don't think.
Fair.
I could see Newcastle signing an older player like Mahrez. Don't get me wrong, I think Almiron keeps his place, but
True.
Mahrez is one of those players who can play on the left, play on the right. One of those where I don't know what's going on with St. Maximin. I think it's a thing where, to be honest with you, I think Almiron's going to overshadow him now,
Mhm.
and I think the hype for St. Maximin's going to dwindle a bit. To be honest with you, I've never thought he was as good as everyone made out.
No, he's
He's a good player to watch, though, isn't he? He's
He's-
entertaining.
That's why
He
he
just
gets
get injured. He just gets injured all the time.
he gets injured all the time, and they probably could get a big fee from a club from him. I think
Mm.
Newcastle could get 40-50 out of him by
Oh,
just
of course.
dangling the carrot in front of a team, like even Leicester, for example. If they could do, for example, St. Maximin and get like 20-30 million for James Maddison,
It's not bad at all.
genius. good man.
Anyway, Toby, who do you think will win the FA Cup, the League
I
Cup?
reckon I reckon Liverpool will get to one of the finals for one of them.
And
I reckon.
bore it out like they did last year.
Yeah, and City to win the FA Cup.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, I think everybody always goes for these rogue teams,
Mm.
but it's always those big hitters that are up there.
But I'm going for the rogue teams because I've always predicted the big hitters, and recently the smaller clubs have been doing really well in the FA Cup over the past few years. You've seen we saw Nottingham Forest have that run. We saw Leicester win
Watford
it.
got to the final.
Watford got it. You know, these smaller clubs now are really pushing because, as you said, they're these mid-table clubs that have gone, well, we're
They've
13th
got
in the
nothing to
league. We're
play
not
for,
getting
yeah.
relegated. We'll play our second team out against Man City in the Premier League and lose 7-0, but we'll put a full-strength team out against
We always used to get slandered for that when we did it.
There's not wrong with it if you're at a point where, let's face it, if you can't push, well, then go for something that can actually get you Europe. It's an intelligent strategy, and Leicester did it. Obviously, Leicester ended up finishing 5th or 6th.
I remember the
Oh, was
year
that
the year we got relegated from the Premier League 2018. We went away to Man City. We played a load of youth players, got dicked 5-0 or something like that because we had like Newcastle at home in the week. But then we lost that as well.
Oh, no.
So it never works. It never works.
No, to be fair, it does sometimes. I remember we did it. I think we played City in the Cup, and we did lose that game, but
It loses confidence from the fans though, because if they think you're just dipping on that game, they think you're just suicide in that game. They're not going to back the team.
oh, don't get me wrong. I think it's different. I think there's don't get me wrong. For example, if you look at a team like Everton, for example, Alex Iwobi might play both games because Frank looks at him and goes, "I know you can play 2 games in a small amount of time. You've proven you can do it. The reliable players like the centre halves and stuff, they can do it. But for example, Calvert-Lewin might get dropped for more pay in the
Yeah,
league,
that's,
and then
that's similar though. Anyway,
Um,
we digress.
anyway.
Top scorer. This is very easy. It's Erling Haaland.
it's Erling
Haaland.
Haaland. But to make it interesting, give a number of goals. I'm going to.
Okay.
So we'll start with you, Toby, and while you speak, I'm going to get the record for Premier League goals in a season.
I think
Okay.
I think it's 33 from
30,
Salah, or
32,
34.
I think.
So so in a 42 season,
But I don't count.
it's 34, but I believe it's 32 from Salah in. Yeah, 32 is number
I
one.
reckon he'll match it. I reckon
Is
that'll
that
be
it? Just
the-
match it, not exceed.
Yeah, I reckon he'll just
Wow.
match it.
I think he'll get 35.
Yeah.
38.
38.
He's going to match league games with not. He's not going
A
to play
goal a
38.
game. A goal a
Goal a
game.
game.
He's going to get more because you're going to end up playing like 29 games. He's going to
Yeah.
get 38 goals. And in all competitions, I'm going to be interested in here. He's going to hit 50. He's going to hit
Wow.
50 in all competitions.
Yeah, I can see it.
He's going to top score in the Champions League and the Premier League.
Have you seen Pep's come out and said he's not too confident he'll come back in the same form after the World Cup because it depends what he does, whether he goes to Norway or Magaluf. Or no, it was Norway or somewhere like that, somewhere Spainy.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, it depends, doesn't it? I think there was rumours going around through like an interview in, I think it was Norway, something about that Erling Haaland and Martin Odegaard were planning on doing like a training camp thing together. Obviously, close mates in the Norway squad.
Friends.
I think there's a few of us really good players in that Norway squad as well.
Josh
So
King.
the fact that I think Norway are going to be a force in like they're going to be like the next Denmark, because they're the team that they're a dark horse in every competition. They always do quite well in every competition, but they never get that final.
Nah, I don't think they'll ever have the depth. I think they'll always be one of those teams that have like 3 or 4 good players.
Yeah, but I think you've shown if one of those 3 or 4 players, for example, if you've got one of the best number 10s in the world and the best striker in the world, that can carry you in.
Only gets you so far.
It's got people very far before. Argentina have been Messi FC for the longest time. They've got the good players, but
they've got competence. You're comparing them to a side like Denmark, but Denmark have quality all over the pitch.
But they do they? Who's Denmark's left back? Who's Denmark?
Oh, they had Mailer at right back last time. Who did they have?
I don't know,
Left back?
Denmark's centre backs is Simon Kjær, and
Christensen.
It's pretty solid.
It's all right. Kjær's another one. Kjær's he's decent for AC Milan when he plays, but he's one of those where he's Mr. Consistent for Denmark. And don't get me wrong, you need those players. It's why Harry Maguire plays for England. But
Anyway, I'm sure we'll discuss the World Cup in much depth over the coming
Yes.
weeks.
right. So top assist. I don't know. It's probably going to be Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah,
Right.
again, I think it's so obvious.
Mm.
He's a machine, and he's actually now got somebody to finish those chances. He'll only get better.
Yeah.
His output.
Well,
will
someone said
only
it, didn't they?
increase.
Like I know I don't want to slag off Jesus and who else,
Sterling.
but they did the thing. Have you seen the thing that went around on Twitter of just De
The
Bruyne
video.
making these ridiculous passes
And
and
they just
setting
like
them up?
hit them straight at the keeper or something.
Yeah, and you look at it and go, imagine Erling Haaland got loads. He's breaking Giggs' record. He's guaranteed. He's locked in for it. I think De Bruyne could literally play this season, next season, and then the rest of the seasons with one leg. And the fella would probably still, with his hands on the floor, just doing that like some sort of breakdancing move, could still get 10 assists in the league.
Well, it depends if Haaland stays at City, because that man's a cheat code.
I don't think it matters.
You float a ball into the box and he's just there.
The thing is, I don't think it matters anymore now, because I think Pep's seen that. Because I think it's almost a sense of overconfidence where he's gone, look at how much we win the league, we don't have to play with a striker. I think Pep's now seen, oh God, look what we can do with a striker. So it's going to be a thing where, and I think that Alvarez is going to be unreal as well. I think he's going to live in Alvarez. He's going to be straight stepping in, 20 goal a season striker. Not to Haaland's level, or even someone like Aguero's level, but if he's scoring 21, 22 in the league.
He needs a regular game time, though.
I think he'll get it. I think he's going to be set up to be, if Haaland leaves in 2 years to Madrid, they're not even going to sign anyone else. They're just going to sign another backup and have Alvarez playing, which, I mean, it's a good idea, to be fair. So we move on, because everyone's going to say everyone's wrong, to Premier League Player of the Year. This is one where I can see it not being a Man City player.
Yeah.
I can weirdly see it being someone like Miguel Almiron, or one of those, Bruno Guimaraes, or something like that. You know, one of these players who are outside that range and do it. But I'm going to give it to Haaland, because if he breaks the record, I think he kind of needs the Player of the Year award.
It's obvious.
But
should we do a Player of the Year that isn't Erling Haaland?
Okay, so Player of the Year that isn't Haaland or De Bruyne. That's the rule. I don't know.
One of the Arsenal lads.
I'm going to go quite rogue and go William Saliba.
Yeah.
What do you think?
He might get young player.
Yeah, true, actually. Yeah. How old is he?
I don't know.
I'm going to go for Bruno
Yeah,
Guimaraes.
'cause he won't win both, will he?
Bruno Guimaraes is going to be the best player in a revitalised Newcastle side. He's going to make the Premier League team of the season, in my opinion. And I think already he looks like number 2 behind De Bruyne as best. He's fantastic.
What's young player? Is young player under 21 or 23?
I think it's under 23.
Yeah,
Saliba will get young player.
I'm going to say it's going to be an Arsenal. I'm going to say Bukayo Saka's going to get it.
Yeah,
I think
Player of the Year.
Or him or Martinelli, young player of the year.
Oh, young player.
And we're going to do it again now. No Arsenal or Man City, because I'm not letting Foden be the answer, because so no Arsenal or Man City young player of the year.
Trevor Chalobah.
Don't start. It's hard to think about. I'm trying to think of like the standout young players this year.
Yeah,
you
let's
know.
have a look.
I'm trying to think of names, because obviously Anthony Gordon pops in my head, but I don't think he's been good enough to win that. Onana, I don't think Onana's not in a bad shout of it if we can push for Europe, but I don't think we will. So I think
Sven Botman's 22.
Sven Botman's a really good shout. Actually.
I'll take that as mine.
Sven Botman is a good shout, but it's really hard. I think
there's no one at United either, is there?
No, not really. I don't know how Malacia is, but I don't think he's going to play enough. I'm going to say Onana. I'm going to say if we can push to that level, then someone like him, in the end, he'll be one of the best players in the side. So
Embarrassing.
Mount, I'm going Mount.
Onana's worth more than
that's not a bad shout.
Is Mount not 24 now?
I don't know. No, I think he's 23.
Wait, is Kulusevski still young enough?
Yeah, but he's injured though, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's a thing where if he has an unreal 6 months, people forget about that.
Yeah, fair.
So, I don't know. Right, anyway. So now we move to the Championship.
What about relegation?
Oh crap, yeah.
Forest.
Forgot about that one. Yeah, Forest.
Forest, Wolves.
Dead and buried, aren't they?
I think Forest and Wolves are done.
Yeah.
You
think Wolves will go? I think Wolves will pick up.
My thing is, I think Wolves are going to get Nuno back.
Yeah, it's one of the stars, isn't it?
Is one of those things now where it's the same thing with Bournemouth. Do you know
Bournemouth
what?
Will be okay. Bournemouth will be fine.
Nottingham Forest, Wolves, Bournemouth.
Wow.
I don't think Bournemouth are going to hire a new manager in time, and I think the Gary O'Neill, is that his name?
Yeah.
I think it's running out now. They're getting pummeled every time they.
Are they though? They gave Tottenham a really good game the other day.
Yeah, but
they went 2-0 up and conceded 2 corners. If they sort themselves out from set pieces, they'll be fine.
Yeah, but we've set how many teams that have got relegated have we gone? If you sort yourself out from set pieces,
all right. Fair. But no, Bournemouth will stay up. For me, it's
actually changed my mind. Southampton. I think it's time to go.
They're going in mind. For me, it's Nottingham Forest in 20th, Southampton in 19th, Leeds in 18th.
I don't know. I think Leeds. My thing is with Leeds is I think they'll sack Marsh in time and get someone else in time, and they've got the talent to stay up.
I think every team has a
I
talent.
don't think Southampton do. I think Wolves do, but I think like I said, no striker can score for them. They've got talent everywhere except goals, and if they draw 0-0 for the rest of the season, don't get me wrong, it'll keep them up. We'll saying that, will it? 35 points, it'll be close.
So to summarise, you've gone Forest, Southampton, Wolves.
Yep.
I've gone Forest, Southampton, Leeds. Toby?
I don't think Leeds will go down. I think Forest, Wolves, and probably Southampton. But
Yeah.
it's really tricky because
I think it's really tough this year.
Unless Southampton sack Arsenal.
I really like Southampton though.
So do I,
I
but
already have.
I think what I think Southampton are though is I think Southampton are going to be very Burnley, Norwich, Fulham. They've got all these really talented young players. They're going to go down. Don't get me wrong, someone like Livermore will probably go because I know he's injured and I know but Kyle Walker-Peters will go. You know, you'll have Che Adams will probably still go because I think Che Adams has now proven himself that he can score goals in the league to the point where someone will take him. But I think Sekumara is very talented. I think Romeo Lavia is going to be. He looks like he could be one of the best midfielders in the Premier League in a few years' time. So I think they've got the talent.
Bella Kotchap,
I think he'd leave.
Aribo,
I think Aribo would go.
I think Aribo would stay.
Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, he's gone.
I don't know. Do you think
he's gone?
Do you not?
he can't play in the Championship.
Absolutely
He's
not.
too good for the Championship.
Yeah, he is. But I don't know where he'd go. I think he'd be one of those where top 16 probably should. A Newcastle, if they went down, Newcastle should hawk him. They should be like, yep.
He'd go to anyone. Anyone in the league.
No, he don't get into any of the big six teams.
But even so, as squad depth, you
No,
see, City signed Calvin Phillips.
No,
He's not going to play.
I don't think so. I think he's a waste for a squad depth player. Well, let's sub James Ward-Prowse on for free kicks.
People do ridiculous things for a shit ton of money, don't they?
I think Ward-Prowse wants to play. I think that's why he's been at Southampton for so long. I think he's got a sense of loyalty about him, and I think he enjoys playing football. I think he's one of those where he probably wants to win trophies, but he's just enjoying playing football. You know what I mean? So it's one of those where, for example, if Newcastle offered him less money, do you know what? Even I'm going to use those again. If we offered him less money and guaranteed starting, he'd join us over, for example, Tottenham, who would offer him more money but not guaranteed starting. I don't know. I think that he's one of those players that he wants to play. He just wants to play his football more.
Chuck an extra 50 grand on a contract though, and it's
no, but it depends. He's making 120 grand. There's a lot of people, Lewis, who just look at not many footballers, but people who just go, well, I would rather at the point where you've earned so much money, where you just go, I want to enjoy my job now.
You'd be surprised. You'd be very surprised. Anyway, I think if Southampton dropped to the Championship, they wouldn't bounce straight back up.
I think they've got unless
it's a very common misconception that a lot of teams.
No, but I don't think many teams that drop down are in this position of Southampton. Southampton, one of the best academies in the country. They've already got the young talent producing. They've got them all there. They've got all the thing is, you look at a team like Burnley. When they came down, what did they do? All the old players, kept a few of the core, shipped them off. See you later. Brought in a load of young players. It's working.
It's working, but it's working. For now.
It would be such a shame if they do after. Transfers they brought in because they look so promising.
Because my thing is,
start of the season.
I could see Brentford dropping because if in the end, if you look at between 10th, do you know what? If you look between 9th and 18th, realistically, any of those teams could go down. Not Liverpool, obviously, but I'm just going off the points they've got. So if we say literally the entire bot from 10th to 20th, every single team there could go down. I'm not counting even Everton out of it, or West Ham. West Ham haven't looked very good at all. But I think players like Paqueta and stuff will come big for them to the point where they'll then be able to get saved. But we now move into the final part of the episode, and that's the Championship. Probably the hardest part is Championship.
It's a lottery, isn't it?
I think, to win the league.
I think Burnley are nailed on to win the league.
I don't think they're nailed on.
Or draw too many games.
I think they're a very good outfit, but the key to getting autos from the Championship is consistency. And I don't think you mentioned they've got a young squad. Young squads aren't very often consistent. Come the end of the season, they tend to tail off.
They do. And don't get me wrong, I don't think Burnley are going to. I don't know.
They're unbeaten in 16.
Jesus,
yeah.
Oh wow.
And they've won the last.
They've won the last 4 out of 5, and they got one draw.
I don't know. I'm very much basing this on when I watched them when they played Stoke.
Because
they weren't all that.
I get your point, because every team that seems to dominate the Championship up until Christmas never wins.
Happen, does
never wins. I think Blackburn were the team last year. that looked like they were going to do it. They're doing it again now, to be fair. Blackburn are not going up. I'm going to say that now. I think
most of the time, when you look at the top 6 come Christmas or even this time of year, 5 of them will drop out come May.
I'm going to say Burnley are going to get automatics, but Sheffield United are going to win the league. Sheffield United 1, Burnley 2 is mine. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, I'm going to go QPR 1, Burnley 2.
QPR?
QPR as well. Oh, I like that shout.
Very good. Very good. Have they? I think QPR. They're scoring
Swansea as well.
Both teams that Stoke have got a point from away from home this season.
Yeah. And then playoffs.
Toby, what do you think top 2?
Playoffs.
Burnley. I think Burnley, Sheffield, and then QPR in the playoffs.
Okay.
I think.
Right.
Okay.
So playoffs: QPR, Norwich, Watford. Are Swansea going to stay in? No, I don't think Swansea are going to stay in. I think QPR. Who did I say? QPR, Norwich, Watford, and I feel like there's going to be a rogue team in there.
I'm quite happy with my playoff shout, actually.
QPR, Norwich, Watford, and Luton Town. That's what I'm going to go for.
Okay. So I've gone. Who did I go top 2? I went QPR, Burnley. So my top 6 is going to be QPR, Burnley, Norwich, Swansea, Luton, Millwall.
Right.
I think Sheffield United drop out. I think Blackburn drop out.
And then top goal scorer in the league. Currently it's Jerry Yates from Blackpool with 9. Brereton Diaz has got 8. Callum Morris 8. Jay Rodriguez 8. Sargent 8. Estupinan from Hull also 8.
You forgot Toby's top 6.
Toby's top 6.
Oh, whole top 6. Well, I've done
you
the
want, wait,
top
we're
3.
doing the whole top 6. All right, so you've got Burnley, Sheffield, QPR.
Yeah, I reckon Norwich will be in there still.
Yep.
Maybe someone like Millwall might be exciting.
I feel I was thinking between Millwall and Luton Town, but Millwall always drop off.
One of them
Millwall always drop off at the last hurdle.
I just hope
I agree with
Watford
that.
don't. I
completely agree.
Massive dislike.
Well,
for
I
Watford.
hope Luton don't for obvious reasons,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think they will. I think they're a really good side.
And okay, so
Love their ground as well.
So you've got in the playoffs currently Norwich,
QPR.
Norwich,
I think
QPR.
will win it. Maybe Swansea. I don't know.
I like Swansea.
Wait,
I really like Swansea.
Well, Blackburn. I don't think
Do
they're
you know,
going
I've
to
just
drop
realised I
out.
don't think I put Blackburn in my top 6. Sorry,
Yeah, they've got to be in there. Haven't they?
I don't think I did.
I don't think they will.
So you've got Burnley, Sheffield, QPR, Norwich, Blackburn. And then it's hard, isn't it? You look at teams like Swansea, Watford, Millwall, Luton Town. And then obviously...
I think anybody top 12 can make the playoffs.
No, they can't.
100%.
Preston, Reading and Birmingham aren't making playoffs, Matt.
Yeah, but
Birmingham are not making playoffs.
Birmingham have been good.
Reading aren't either.
Birmingham beat QPR at the weekend.
Yeah, but everyone beats QPR at least once.
When's Burnley Blackburn? That's
Probably
a huge game.
It's I think
13th
it's
November.
Soon. It's soon.
So it's
just for the World Cup.
yeah. So who do you think's gonna get that last spot then, Toby? Because I'm thinking about changing my mind now.
Rogue, I'll just go Millwall.
Right. So looking at mine, did I say Blackburn in the playoffs? I don't think I did.
What were your autos?
So I'm gonna say Sheffield United win the league. Burnley comes second. I'm gonna say QPR, Norwich, Blackburn, and then. So, I'm gonna still stick to Luton Town and say Watford are the ones that drop out. I think I'm gonna keep that, and then we'll do relegation as well before top scorers. I do think I can never see West Brom going down. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just can't see it. I can't see a world where West Brom go down. Who is the new gaffer?
It's
Corberán.
Corberán.
Oh, Carlos Corberán. So yeah, good manager.
He's
I
only
think
had one game.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Huddersfield are going down.
I agree. Mine would be Huddersfield, Wigan, and Hull City.
Oh, I'm gonna go 24th place, Stoke City. No, I'm just,
Wouldn't fucking surprise me.
I reckon one of the bigger teams will go down.
I'm
Like
gonna
a
say
By bigger
big
team,
club.
what do you mean? West Brom, Huddersfield, Middlesbrough.
Maybe
stay.
Middlesbrough. I
w-
don't know, but they got Carrick now, and they.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, but Carrick. It goes one or the other way, doesn't it? It's
I'm
either
go-
really good or really shy.
I'm gonna say Wigan, Huddersfield, and
Because Wigan are in.
I
turmoil
think
at the moment.
Cardiff are finally. I think it's time.
Yeah, I
They've
can
been
see
around there for years. It's time to go, boss man. It's
Well, because Wigan aren't they struggling to pay their players at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
So it's
failed
getting into that sticky situation again, isn't it?
Yeah, it's happening again. And then, right, so we will get to top scorers now. It's, as I mentioned, a little list of players, and I'm trying to be smart about this. Burnley are currently top goal scorers in the league, but it's very spread out. Jay Rodriguez has got 8, but I just don't see Jay Rodriguez finishing as the top goal scorer in the Championship. I think he's a very good player. I think he's quite underrated, to be honest.
This could be absolutely anyone, though.
But
Brereton Diaz is my shout.
I'm looking down over to Norwich, and I've just got a weird feeling about Josh Sargent. He's looked like he's really turning things around this season. The finishing looks more on point than it has before. He's displaced Pookie from the team almost as the main goal scorer. I'm tempted, but I also feel like it won't surprise me if it's bloody Jerry Yates. You know what I mean? It's one of those, or Carlton Morris.
I like it when it's a team who's not.
I like it when
well,
it's a
but they've got a massive.
And you
like Estupiñán's up there for Hull. Hull are terrible.
And with some of them, penalties apply to the Championship so much more than they do in stuff like the Premier League.
But they're not. None of the top 4 here have a penalty goal.
Do they not? Oh, that's interesting because usually it is a big factor in it. But do you know what? I've got a feeling it's not someone who are in my. Is there any more players who've got 8 besides Diaz, Morris, Rodriguez, Sargent, Estupiñán?
So it's Jerry Yates on 9, and there are 5 players on 8. It's Carlton Morris, Josh Sargent, Oscar Estupiñán, Ben Brereton Diaz, and Jay Rodriguez.
Who's got 7?
Iliman and Dye, who I might back.
Sheffield United.
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Ooh.
Naki Wells for Bristol City, McBurney for Sheffield United, Scott Hogan for Birmingham, and that's your lot.
I'm going to stick with Josh Sargent. I think Josh Sargent's going to take it.
I think it'll be Rodriguez just for the fact he takes penalties and he plays for Burnley.
Does Sargent not take penalties as well?
Unless Norwich haven't had a penalty this season. No, Pookie will take penalties.
Yeah. I'm going to go Sargent.
Toby?
I'm just going to stick with Brereton Diaz, I think.
Yeah.
I want to pick Brereton Diaz, but I feel like he has to carry that attack so much sometimes to the point where he's going to be one of those he'll probably hit 20 goals again, but he'll have like 9 or 10 assists or something as well. And
That's
I think that is, if I am correct, that is I mean, if we want to do assists, currently the top is it's a
Toby's fuming.
It's a nightmare.
Toby hates this fucking division.
Honestly, it's a nightmare.
Wait till we get to League 1 and League 2, Toby.
That's brilliant.
It's a nightmare, and I'm not going through the list of players. I'm just saying it's going to be Ilias Chair, and we're going to just go from there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that'll do.
Ilias Chair is going to win it.
We'll come back to this in the season.
Imagine we predict it because we've just got
Toby will want to kill himself some more.
Career mode legend on my career mode. Sorry, Alex Scott. What a man. Beast he is. Right, anyway, away from my creator club career mod.
Yeah, you done?
Yeah, right. Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Follow and rate the podcast if you're on Spotify, and I believe it's very similar on every other listening platform. I think Apple Podcast has like a subscribe feature. So just make sure you've got notifications on for when the podcast is live. If you are watching on YouTube, all the episodes are actually on there now. So you can actually watch episodes 3, 4, and 5 now instead of just 1, 2, and 5. Follow our personal Twitters. It'd be very nice of you. While Lewis softly caresses the mic for us. But anyway, thank you all for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you for the next podcast. Hopefully next week again with consistency.
Woohoo!
Cheers.
Cheers,
Thank
guys.
you. Goodbye.